And so what we're going to talk about today is healing. Because it's all related. Healing, whether it's a physical malady, an internal issue, or it's a bruise or a strain, or a cyst or a bump, or an abdomen issue, which I had myself for about 9 months, or whatever the issue is. We're gonna talk about healing because we believe in healing. I think everybody believes in healing. Even atheists believe in healing to a point. Just as the source of that healing, might be a question for debate. But we're going to try to get there today, because a lot of my friends are as old as I am and older, and we're the things that we just winked at earlier in our lives. If we had a little pain or a little discomfort or whatever, we're not winking anymore. Okay, so we want to be well, all right, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get started, I want to say, because we're going to talk about to be well, as far as like the healing aspect of it, especially from a spiritual perspective. And spirituality, I don't necessarily mean from a particular religion's perspective. Okay? I believe that I want to speak from a spiritual perspective that we all can identify with as human beings, whether we affiliate ourselves with or believe in a particular religion or not. That internal portion of us. So as a religious person, a believer, or a more religiously centered spiritual person, we might consider a divinity that we might pray for, or even a divine presence which dwells with us, or even some of us believe, like I do, that dwells within us. Is that would be the source of our healing, of our wellness. Where others who may not be religiously inclined simply believe that power comes from within them, simply. And I believe that too, all right? And so we want to address both those today, because we're going to find wellness. I don't care where we walk in life, or who we are, or what we believe, or whatever. I believe that we could tap into healing that is within us, and the religious person might call it one thing, or the secular person might call it something else, But still, it's that thing that none of us really know for sure. The things that we have chosen to believe, but something that we can tap into that can help us, in our journey to belief and wellness and healing. We understand over the years. I remember even when I was a kid, this was expressed to us that as human beings we use only a very small portion of our brains, a very small percentage, less than 10% of our brains. And it's believed then that if we ever found a way that we could tap into more of our brains, or even the totality of our brains, that there would be phenomenal, amazing, magical things that we could accomplish, And sometimes when you look at those monks, from the Shaolin Temple in China, and they're doing all these amazing superhuman type feats, we wonder how, and simply probably because they believe they can do that. And where does that belief come from? We want to say within an individual, within the spirit, or of that person. But what is all that really? It's in the mind, So evidently they're tapping into some part of their brain that's allowing them to believe that they can do these superhuman feats. Okay. So it's kind of where we're going to go today, because everything that has to do with the healing that we can bring on ourselves has to do with our mind. Okay. Has to do with how we're thinking, what we're thinking, and so we're going to try to address that today, because we want to strengthen. We're making noise over here. There we go. We want to strengthen our ability to be able to create healing in our bodies. Okay. So before we start off, I want to say this: Sometimes we run to the doctor at the drop of a hat. We get a splinter, every little thing. We don't feel good, upset stomach, headache, whatever. We just run to the doctor, man. I never go to the doctor unless I'm at a point where I have tried everything and it's just not working. But I will not go to the doctor simply because, okay? and so what you're going to find, I might be walking around with some kind of illness that my mind healed, that which is within me. You could say God healed, my mind healed, my inner self healed, that I didn't even know that I had, okay? Because we're talking about belief. And so the problem with going to the doctor, and I'm not saying just don't go to the doctor, because we do need to go to the doctor at times, But what I'm challenging you is don't go unless you really, really, really need to go, okay? If you're dealing with something after the fact, I mean, for me personally, I'll try to figure out how to fix whatever's wrong with me. And, I mean, because the reality, and maybe it's my logical thinking or whatever, but number one, first of all, none of us are getting out of this thing alive, okay? So as much as we want to be well, and as much as we want to believe we can be healed, we have to first, the foundation of our belief has to have to come to terms with the fact that one day we are going to die, okay? And when you die, you're going to die of something, okay? Something that didn't get healed. Okay, well, we want to address that too, because I believe there's a power in the mind, there's a power in belief, and the problem with going to the doctor, okay, especially when we don't really, really need to, or even if we might really need to, but we don't really, really need to, is that we're trying to believe, we're trying to have faith, okay? So I'm a man, and I have this malady, I have something going on with me, but I'm going to try to believe my way through it, but then my wife convinces me to go to the doctor. Then I go to the doctor tells me all this thing that's wrong with me and it can't be fixed and you got to take this medicine, that medicine, all this stuff. It's like there goes my faith. There goes my belief in my self-healing. So the problem, although doctors are good and necessary at times, the problem with going to doctors when you don't really need to is because their diagnosis, if it's negative, is gonna destroy your faith. Is going to destroy your ability to believe. How important this is to us is that we know from studies, from reports, that research that has been done, that there have been an insurmountable number of misdiagnoses. People have had surgeries. You know, people have had invasive surgeries that they really didn't need. People have been prescribed and taken medicines over long periods of time that they didn't need. And now you know when we're watching TV and we see them advertising for certain kinds of medicines, oh man, it's wonderful to do this and do that. Then they go through this whole list of side effects and things that could happen to you. Well, guess what? If you are prescribed this type of medicine and you didn't need it, and you're taking it all this time, it's not doing anything for you because you didn't need it. But you're definitely going to have those side effects, okay? So we have a lot of people that have perished from the prescriptions that they have been given, misdiagnosed prescriptions that have been given by doctors. We have many people that have died or have suffered or have walked through life less of a man or woman, their parts, simply because of misdiagnosis. So what I'm suggesting is don't go to the doctor unless you really have to, okay? But then that creates then a responsibility on you, a responsibility on me. Because if I'm not going to be going to the doctor unless I really, really need to, the responsibility is that I really, really need to be taking care of myself, okay? I really need to be eating the right kind of foods. I need to be exercising. I need to be doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, okay? So for me then, okay, I have this long list of healthy foods that I eat. And what I did is I've shared on many programs years and years ago. I knew I needed to be healthy. I knew I needed to eat better. So I just went on the internet and I just Googled healthy foods. And it would kick out a list. I think I went to like 4 different websites as well. Healthy foods, WebMD. I mean, I'm sure many of us know that. That's a pretty popular website. You know, what are the healthy kind of foods? So I had this long list from different web pages, and I just copied them and pasted it onto a Word document. It was a long list, printed it, and then I just went through that list and circled everything on that list that I already liked. That was my new diet plan. That's what I've been eating. All the time, every day. Well, what I do is every work day, I eat healthy from the time I get up until the time I get off of work. And I continuously eat. You know, as they keep those fires burning or stoke the coals or whatever, you know, I eat all throughout the day only healthy foods. And it works. It works for me. And so then I can believe then that if something is going awry with my body, there are certain things that I could immediately check off the list, okay? Because I know that I have a healthy body. I know that I'm feeding it the right kinds of food, the right kinds of nutrients and things, and I even take supplements for some things. that I know I could almost automatically determine that no, it's not that. See, another problem that we do, because another problem that we do is that as an effective tool the internet can be to us, especially Google and now AI, which I'm utilizing quite a bit lately, is that we can have symptoms, what we believe are symptoms of an illness, and then plug into Google, what do I have? These are my symptoms. And you might have lupus, and you may not. You just might have a headache, or something. A hangnail, I don't know. But the point is, another detriment to our ability to maintain faith outside of going to the doctor when we don't really need to, is going to Google and Googling our symptoms, and then, man, do I have that? Do I have this? And it's blowing your faith, man. So I don't recommend that either. It's not a good thing. Stay away from those things. If you want to use Google, Google and determine the kind of foods you need to eat a healthy, balanced diet every day, the portions of a diet you should eat every day, and just stick to that for the rest of your life, okay? As a black man, yes, I can tell you, I don't have high blood pressure. Why? Because I've never had it checked, okay? I haven't had the prostate exam either. And you might say, well, that's crazy, 66 years old this year and all that. You should have had that, when they come out with a strip put on my forehead. But see, I don't just say this glibly and just not go. I do know that I'm eating the right foods, and I'm drinking the right things, and I'm doing all the right, and exercising, doing all the things I need to, so I shouldn't have those issues. Now again, that's not ensuring that I won't, but nobody's going to live forever, and that's just where I'm at. For me personally, I've been taking care of myself, healthy, exercising and eating properly for like 19 or 20 years now, and so I can be pretty sure that certain maladies that would come upon people who are not eating properly are not going to come upon me, okay, and I don't know this for a fact, but again, I guess I'm pushing 70 now, and I think I'm doing pretty good. Now again, I do have things that happen to me that I feel like my hand sometimes hurts, or this and that. I can't even think of too many. My neck, gets stiff. Things never happened to me before, but they're happening now if I don't sleep right or whatever. But so then I try to make sure, I have this massager that I ordered on Amazon that goes around my neck. I have this massaging hand thing that I also, Amazon is a wonderful thing. You get anything you need, for real. But I'm always improving, always trying to do better. Yeah, anybody I meet, anybody I run into, man, I don't, as hard as it is to believe, because you've gotten to see me on this program for almost 19 years now, you might think that I have an opinion on everything. I do. But I listen, okay? Because the one thing that we should know is understand that we don't have to really be focused all the time on the things that we do know. What's most important for each of us is to be really honed in and be aware of topics that we are not familiar with. I take advice, okay? And so let me go over my diet real quick so I can just kind of share with you. Because we're going to talk about healing today, getting that healing, and we're kind of been talking about it a little bit so far, making sure you guard your faith, Scripture even tells us, it says, and we might take this to mean something else, but we're told to guard our hearts, okay? Because out of your heart flows the issues of life, okay? And so then guarding your heart, we could say, well, don't let yourself be hurt by people. Or we could say guarding your heart, man, that's protecting your faith. Because that's where the issues of life reside, within your faith, okay? So when Scripture tells you to guard your heart, it's guarding your faith, protecting your faith, okay? So let's see, in the morning, I get up in the morning, I have 2 mugs of coffee, like half mugs, and I fill the mugs with the rest of the way with water. 2 mugs of coffee, and I do 2 bottled waters. First thing in the morning. Then I exercise. I do my push-ups, and I do my wooden dummy, and I do my 40-minute cardio. 1,000 punches, 900 kicks in 40 minutes. But that's because I was a martial artist. Whatever, I have a buddy, he's down south somewhere, he used to live here, he does that Peloton, bike all the time. I can't do that. That wouldn't be fun for me. I have another friend, two friends that go running. Okay, and one of them lifts weights, doing all that stuff. These are two ladies. That stuff's not for me either. The martial art thing is for me. That's what I do. But we all have, the things that we are comfortable with. So I do my 2 mugs of coffee. I do my 2 bottled waters. I do my push-ups. I do my wooden dummy. I do my 40 minutes of cardio. Okay, and then I go to work. And I prepare all this stuff in the morning, okay? I study the Spanish language and the Arabic language alternating weeks to keep my mind sharp, to keep my mind healthy, okay? That exercise. And while I'm studying, they're 30-minute programs, so while I'm studying, I'm preparing my food for the day. So after I go to work, then I'll have a carnation chocolate milk, okay? And follow that up with Raisin Bran, a little bag of Raisin Bran. Follow that up with my multivitamins, Mega Man multivitamins, and a couple extra, maybe vitamin C and I don't even know what the other two, vitamin D and something else. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so I take some supplements. So then I get out to the street and I eat a small bag of sunflower seeds, okay? They're already shelled, just a bag of sunflower seeds. While I'm eating the sunflower seeds, I'm drinking a mushroom matcha, okay? A bottle of mushroom matcha. And I make all these things, man. I have all these ingredients, and so while I'm getting my other foods together, I have coffee pots, and I also have my tea pots, okay, my matcha, my mushroom pots, whatever. So mushroom matcha and sunflower seeds. Then about an hour or so later, I'll eat a thing of yogurt and an apple, okay? Then I go about my business. About an hour and a half later or so, I'll eat a spinach salad and with a tomato chopped up in it, okay? About that time, I finish the mushroom matcha. Then I have a mushroom coffee. These are all cold. I make them hot in the morning, put them in the bottles that I poured the water out of, and put them on ice, and I drink them cold. So now I'm drinking a mushroom coffee, okay? These are all healthy things. Going about my business, about an hour later, I stop. I have a hard-boiled egg, and I have green magma. Some of you know what that is, that barley greens, all that stuff mixed with orange juice, okay? After that, I go about my business. I'm about finished with the mushroom coffee. Then I'll drink a green tea. Either I have a turmeric ginger green tea or just a regular green tea. I'll drink that for the rest of the day. Go about an hour and a half later, I have a banana. Go about my business. About a half hour after that, I'll eat an orange. I get these big oranges, I just cut them in half, I eat a half an orange, okay? And that's my day. And so I'm eating this food and drinking this stuff all throughout the day, and it's all healthy for my body. And I've been doing this for I don't know how many years, over 15 years. I said 19 years earlier, but it's been an evolution of trying things. I started off, I used to do chicken with it. And it was, so I tried 2 eggs, that wasn't good. I tried 2 apples. Of 1 apple a day, keep the doctor away, I was eating 2. So I've tried so many different things, and I settled into what I'm doing right now. But again, I do listen. And I do learn, like this mushroom matcha and the mushroom coffee, these are relatively new things that I've only been doing at it for about maybe a year or so. So I'm open to learn. But just take care of yourself. That's the key right there, because that increases the belief. You knowing you're healthy, something begins to come upon you, you can knock that right out because you know that you're too healthy for that, okay? Yeah, so we got that, right? And what I'm going to share with you, maybe this is a little exercise you can do, especially if you have something that you're really struggling with, some kind of illness, some kind of malady, or whatever you're really struggling with. What I would say, I said a minute ago how I was thinking back about all these issues that I've had over the years, but I'm well now, so I'm healed now. I am well from those maladies. I did this, man. Just make a list of all the things that have been wrong with you that you are well now. I guess you might have like 12 things. I know I did. And then I circled them, and then I put a line through them, every one of them. And then the last thing on that list is something that I'm currently dealing with right now. And I just put a circle around it without a line through it, okay? So what I'm doing then is that every day I'm looking at this list. I'm saying, yeah, I had that, and I'm well. Had that, and I'm well. Had that, and I'm well. Go all the way down the list, all through what I have right now, and I'm not well yet. But I'm going to be just like all the rest of those things. That's a tool. That's an activity that'll help build your faith, okay? And I'll tell you why it's very important. Why it's very important, first of all, what I share with you as far as my exercise and my eating healthy. Because the older you get, the more difficult believing that you're okay becomes, you know? There are some psychological issues we have going on here. One thing is most of us, what we do is, we believe because we are a certain age. That's a subconscious issue, so we're not even consciously thinking about it. We remember what our moms and our dads looked like when they were 65 years old. And so subconsciously, I'm supposed to be acting like they were acting. Some of us knew our grandparents, and we knew what they were like when they were 65 years old. So we begin acting. This is the subconscious movement, motivation. We begin acting and feeling and responding like our grandparents did when they were then the age that we are now, okay? So we're not really functioning honestly with the condition of our bodies. We're actually subconsciously sabotaging ourselves because we're believing we're supposed to be in a certain stage of decrepitness. We're at this age. You got to deal with that. You gotta consciously realize what I'm telling you right now. See the problem with subconscious motivation, subconscious proddings and all that is that we're not consciously aware. And so our subconscious just moves us here and there, you know, wherever, based on the rationalizing the experiences that you've been throughout your life. But the moment you realize that, you can halt it, you know. You can have issues with, you know, like racial issues with black people or with white people or with Mexicans or whatever, you know, that are subconsciously motivated because of maybe an experience you had when you were 7 years old. But once you realize that consciously, oh man, see, as an adult, you're thinking like, man, that's not even logical. And so what I'm sharing with you today is recognize that you are not naturally or intrinsically supposed to be decrepit at this age. You're just buying into something that you witnessed somewhere, you know, in your life, okay? So that's that. Now, so when you deal with that, man, you're even closer to believing and to being well because you're not buying into what folks would assume or attribute to being a sickness connected to your age, okay? Now, the last thing I think I want to talk about in order to help increase our faith, increase our belief, is consciously recognizing what is happening to you. Okay, and really, it's like when you catch a cold. Okay, I mean it's uncomfortable. Your nose is running. You might be coughing and sneezing, your eyes watering or whatever. But you know in your mind, in about a week or so, you're going to get over it. And that's the level of your belief. And that's why you get over it, because you believe you're going to get over it. You've created your own healing. Your body has created its own healing. Where's that creativity that your body expresses originate? In your mind. You believe it. You know it when you're sick, you're going to be well. Even with the flu, as uncomfortable as the flu is, you know, with the hot chills, you know, the hot and the chills and the throwing up and the headache and all that stuff, you know you're going to be well in about a week or two, a week and a half or so. You know that because that's the level of your belief. So everything, you roll your ankle, hurt your ankle, you know you're going to be laid up for a minute, but you're going to be well. It's like certain things are easier to deal with, but the reason you're becoming well is because you believe that you're going to be well. But then we get, you know, to these bigger things. Man, I got this cyst on my head, you know. I had a cyst on my head when I was working in corporate America at NCR. I don't know what it was. It was a cyst on my head. It had been there for a couple of years. It had been there probably about 5 or 6 years. I think I had it when I was in the military, and I just had it for years. Oh, well, this was part of my head, you know. But I think I'd been with NCR for about 4 or 5 years, and one day it just started hurting. So I drove myself to emergency. They removed it. That was it. I drove myself home. Okay. So I'm just suggesting that you believe as long as you can, and don't respond, knee-jerk respond to certain things that you feel are happening to your body. Don't assume the worst, because it probably isn't, okay? But when you go to that doctor, man, he might be assuming the worst. When you go to Google to be plugging in your symptoms, you're going to be assuming the worst. Don't do that, man. I remember when my daughter would know. Let's see here. Do we want to do that one? Yeah, we'll scratch that. So you got homework to do. But so it's all about your belief. And if you're a spiritual person leaning toward the religion where you can pray, then you need to pray. Because what praying does anyway, it increases your belief. That's why Scripture tells us to pray without ceasing. Why is that? Because it's not going to happen if you don't pray without all the time. No, the praying often is the thing that's encouraging you. It's increasing your faith. It's increasing your belief, okay? You've heard people tell you, well, just quote Scripture back to God. Well, that doesn't do anything. But what it does is, it increases your faith. It increases your belief. You remember when Jesus was dealing with that guy in Scripture whose son was sick? And he had taken his son to the disciples, and the disciples couldn't heal him. And then he took his son to Jesus and said, look, I took my son to your disciples, and they couldn't heal him. And Jesus said, bring him here. And Jesus told him, he asked the man, he said, do you believe? And immediately the man said, yes, I believe. And then a moment later, the man said, help my unbelief. Okay? So what was happening there is, Jesus was saying, if you believe, all things are possible. He asked the man if he believed. The man immediately said he believed. And then a minute or two later, he said, Lord, help my unbelief. Because that's what we do. We claim we believe. But oftentimes that claiming that we believe is like a mask. It's like covering the real us. We're really not believing. We're really wavering in our belief. We're really struggling. And it's okay to struggle. It's okay to waver. The only problem is there is no healing behind that mask. Okay, we got to come clean. Jesus tells us in Scripture, he said the truth is what's going to make you free. Why? Because so often we hide behind fiction. We hide behind this mask, this thing that is not true. We're projecting an image to people for all the world to see, but it's not really who we are, see? And so there is not any wellness behind the mask, because the mask is the mask. That's why when Jesus was dealing with folks, who he was mad at most were the religious leaders. He called them hypocrites, because they were putting on people, burdens that they themselves could not bear. What does that really mean translated in regular English? They were living behind a mask. They were pretending they were something that they were not. And it's easy to have an expectation, an outward expectation of other people based on a mask that you are pretending that you are, okay? And Jesus was saying there's no healing behind that. He's saying the truth is the thing that's going to make you free. And so when that gentleman said to Jesus, help my unbelief, there was no shame in that. The shame was when he said he did believe and he really didn't believe, okay? But I'm sure that gentleman had a moment to say, am I going to live behind this mask of pretense and allow my son to continue in this suffering sickness? Or am I going to swallow my pride and admit that I'm struggling in my belief and ask for healing in my belief, okay? So what I want to leave you with today, because I've given you a whole bunch of stuff. We believe in prayer, okay? So we've been praying for the sickness forever, okay? And it's still there, whatever it is, possibly. Or maybe not forever, but it's just not happening, okay? So stop praying to be well from that sickness. Because I guarantee you this, if I pray to be well from this sickness, and then I wake up the next morning and I have the same sickness and I pray to be well from that sickness again, and the next day I wake up and I'm still sick and I pray for that sickness, all I've done in time is simply solidify the fact that I am not well. So my continual prayer for this sickness every day is working against my faith. It's working against my belief. So stop praying for that sickness. Stop praying for that malady. Begin to pray, God, help my unbelief. help me to believe. Because it's your belief. Jesus said of all the people that were healed, just about all the people, the woman with the issue of blood, the woman whose daughter was sick, the man whose daughter was sick, all that stuff going on, Jesus would always say, it's your faith that has made you well because you believed. So man, strategically pray then. If you want, pray if you want to be well. Begin to pray for your belief to be strengthened, because that's going to be the key to your wellness, is what you believe. So stop praying for the illness, because each time you pray for the illness and you're not well, you're just solidifying your lack of belief that you're well. Begin to pray, God, help me to believe. That's your prayer. And let me tell you what, don't pray that prayer either every day. God, help me to believe. God, help me to believe. Because what you're doing is you're solidifying a reality in your own mind that you don't believe, and you keep asking God for help. No, the key is, whether it's your belief, whether it's your healing, whether it's for a loved one, whatever it is you're praying for, pray for it one time. And then from then on, each day, thank you for the healing. Thank you for the healing. Thank you for the healing. Thank you for my belief. Thank you for the healing. You go back and forth with that. Why? Well, come on, you're still not well. Why are you thanking for the healing? Because what is the definition of faith in Scripture? Faith is the evidence of things not seen. It is believing that God is doing it. Now, we recognize, it's kind of weird, that God lives in a place of no time, right? And that we live in this place that is constrained by time, seconds and minutes and hours and days and weeks and months and years and all that. But from a God's perspective, there is no time. So there is that. That we're living in this and God is living in that. Don't think on it too hard. But just thank God, because faith is the evidence of things not seen. So if it's not seen immediately within our time continuum thing going on, that we believe from an eternity perspective we are well, even if we don't have the evidence yet. So every day just thank God. Thank God that it's done. Thank God for my healing. Thank God for my faith. Thank God, thank God, thank God. And eventually you will be thanking God for your healing, even though you didn't have the evidence, that you'll be believing it without the evidence for real. And one day you're going to be thanking God for your healing, and it's going to go, well, wait a minute. I'm already healed. You're going to realize that for real. So that's the key right there, man. Beware of doctors. Still need them if it gets serious. But if it's not really, if you got something, maybe I'm the wrong example, okay? Because if something happens in my left hand here, I'll be, at least I got a right hand. That's the way I think, man. I've had issues over the years, but all of my issues have been related to doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. Back in the day, when I was back in the day, I was doing a lot of things I shouldn't have been doing, and I liked that little speed buzz, So then when I got my life together and was doing right, shoot, I still like little speed buzz. Maybe I'll do some diet pills because they give you the same thing, and I don't even think they even sell those things anymore. But then I had an adverse reaction to that. So I'd have to go to the doctor. It was like, okay, I ain't doing that no more. So you just realize a lot of the things that are causing negativities in your life are self-inflicted by the lifestyles that we live. So begin to cut out all those things. That's why in every program I suggest the things that we got to do. A couple of things we got to do is we got to start exercising. We got to start eating right. And we got to take care of other things too as well. But for this program, just those two things right now. So I hope I've given you something to think about. I'd suggest that you listen to this program again. Not that it's all that, but I did make some valid points throughout the program that you might want to pick up on, okay? And because I walk in wellness. I'm not saying things don't happen, but it's a matter of perspective, how you look at things. You know what this program is called, right? Another Perspective. Sometimes all it takes for whatever it is we need, whatever it is we desire, whatever our frustrations, whatever things just aren't going right, all we need is another perspective.